It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, we are going to get into the latest update, and my eyeglasses are reflecting the light in a bad way. But we'll figure that out eventually, right? I mean, I've only been doing this for how long now? Echo? Is there really an echo? I don't know. Echo, bad echo. Geez, I have absolutely no idea. Okay. Well, tonight's show is starting off fantastically. Let's see what could be echoing. It says I only have one microphone on, so I still don't know why it would be echoing. Audio. Give us your, we're in this, I'm still echoing. I don't know. Boy, why would I be? Oh, you know what it could be? You know what it might be? Let's try. I apologize, everybody. So, if you can't tell, I did some fun stuff with my setup, and now it seems like everything is echoing because every time I seem to touch things, that's what happens. And Stream Deck makes A, that is correct. So we need to open this up and let's see if this is set to echo. I hate when this kind of stuff happens. It's really frustrating. Universal control. Slap echo. Why is that on? The echo should have stopped. I don't know how that got triggered. That is very interesting that that happened. I am assuming people can still hear me and it's not echoing anymore. Yes, we are having fun, are we not? It doesn't get better than this, does it, folks? Well, thank you. I apologize. I don't exactly know why that happened, and now I have to figure out how to fix the light on my glasses. But we'll get to that maybe by the next show. I thought I was gonna have camera issues today because I messed with this camera over here and I messed with this camera over here. So I was expecting issues. I wasn't exactly expecting the issues that I had, but I guess that's kind of just the way things go sometimes. I really need to adjust this camera. I want to see how the background's darker right now. I want the background to be that dark blue, but when I step back a little bit, you can see it'll wash out. Yeah, now you can hit the like button. Dennis, there are no trains running yet. I know there are. I mean, there's stuff though. I got some. Don, that is really funny. I might just make your echoing voice my ringtone. If you do that, you have to share that with me. James, I leveled the bench work the other day, and a funny thing happened. In order to get the bench work level, I actually had to take the leveling feet off of the bench work in this corner right here. The bench work in this corner was so high and so off with the leveling feet that I couldn't get it level and still have everything else line up. So no leveling feet in this corner, leveling feet all around, got things leveled as well. I did a lot of work. Oh, maybe that's where the banana went. I did a lot of work over the last week getting to where I'm at right now. So I'm excited. I'm excited where we're at. I just noticed I completely missed. Let's see if I can find it because I got to go back. Here we go. Thank you, Mr. Pictovid, for the Fix the Echo Fund. I appreciate it. And as you saw, the $10 went to a good cause because I did, at the end of all this, actually fix the echo. So that's good news. Okay, so I have my list. I don't know what's going on with this setup yet, but my list of things I want to talk about on the show are all the way over here. So I have to look all the way over here to see my outline for the show and then come all the way back over here. If your feet are on the ground, are they not level? Well, I guess it depends. Yeah, James, I was thinking of remounting these, but the reality was it would have taken me like a year to remount these legs, or I could have just take the levelers off and it worked. So now that's fixed, show's over. No, let's get started. So big announcement. I'm very excited. They announced the operation sessions for the NER, which is the Northeast Regional NMRA Convention. So I am going to, I think, 6 different operating sessions for the convention, and I'm very excited about that. Every time I go to operating sessions, I learn something about model railroading. Even if you aren't into operations, I just love going and seeing the bench height, seeing how they did the scenery, seeing how they, just everything. I'm just so excited about it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. You can email me, but I don't know what I'm talking about. No. Humans of Jung, how far have you come along in your layout? We're going to get to that. We'll get there eventually. I thought you had extra legs. I do have extra legs, but I couldn't make these 2 legs any shorter than they already were without just a lot of work. Just a lot of work. So, any art conventions coming up, it's October 5th through 8th. If you're in the area, come check it out. Come say hello. Come join in the fun. Gordy's coming from Australia. Gert Mueller's coming from Texas. Don Iris is coming from Florida. All kinds of people are coming from all over the place. So I'm very, very excited to get the chance to do some more operations. Okay, so next thing. I clicked the wrong button. Layout progress, but that was the wrong button. I got a package here. I don't know if anybody knows what this means. I don't know if you can even see what this means. I have to get rid of that thing on the screen. Yes, I'm using a GoPro. Can you even see that? Alexa, set floodlights to cool white. There we go. So anyone guess where that came from? So we're gonna open this up. We'll do that in a moment. Before we do that, I bought some paint. I know, how exciting is paint, right? Well, it's gonna be exciting. The black paint is called Pavement. This is Dennis's favorite black color paint. I'm gonna use it to paint a road as well as to fill in some holes that I've drilled for my turnout motors. So now you have to turn your studio lights off. Blue cotton I got because it kind of looked like a watercolor. If you haven't checked Amazon recently, I don't know why, but these were, I think, like 57 cents. So 57 cents for these little 2-ounce bottles of paint. How could I not get them? Yes, it says blue cotton, which I'm assuming is cotton candy. Why not? But this, I'm gonna paint my water area just as a base coat, just to start sort of seeing how things look. Pavement is gonna be to basically fill and black out some holes. So I'm looking forward to that and making that work. One of your structures is that color. It's an interesting color. There were other blues, but that was the one that was the right color, the color that I wanted. As you guys saw, I can now change the lights in the room. If we go to this wide view, we can just name a color and change the lights. Alexa, set floodlights to red. And I know that Mr. McTovid was, I'm sure, very happy with what I just did. Alexa, set floodlights to orange. So now I'll be able to, kind of change the lights. Oh, of course, the camera is auto white balancing, so things are trying to make it look white. But Alexa, set floodlights to cool white. We'll leave them on this because it'll be easier to see. Oh, pavement's a good color for wheel sets. I'm actually using it for pavement. Yeah, I am sure somebody is going to get me back in the very near future. Let's get on with some of the things that I purchased. So this was an interesting purchase. And this purchase was made to create a mold. I know that sounds a little weird, I guess. Why am I going to use this stuff to create a mold? So what I've decided to do on the layout is I want to mount these switch machines directly under the track, under the switch, under the turnout. So, wait, that's pretty funny. The problem is the Pico Code 55 turnouts don't have holes in the center of the switch. So what that means is I could, let me find one that I didn't cut off. So I could mount the turnout motor, and there's little holes on the sides. I don't know how well you can see this. I guess it probably is going to depend on what you're watching it on. But there's holes on the sides, but there aren't holes in the center. And this material is pretty slippery to drill, even with a pin vise drill. So what I decided I was going to try, it might be a lot of work for nothing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Sugru, which is essentially moldable silicone that kind of holds its shape a little bit, but if you put some mold release on the plastic, this won't stick to that. So I'm going to take the Sugru, I'm going to mold it over the turnout between the 2 point rails. And then I'm going to take some of this modeling clay, and I'm going to cover the Sugru with the modeling clay, because the modeling clay gets harder. But the problem with the modeling clay is that it shrinks and it cracks. The Sugru doesn't shrink and doesn't crack. So once I get the Sugru molded on with the clay on top, I'm going to take and I'm going to very carefully drill out one of the turnouts right in the center. And then I will use that to drill a hole in the Sugru and the clay. And then I will have a template that I will be able to pull off, put on another turnout, and drill the hole in exactly the correct spot. Why am I going through all of this work to draw holes in the to drill holes in the turnouts when I don't really need to do it? I don't have an answer for you. I do everything in very complicated complicated ways, I guess is what it is. James, I talked to some people about 3D printing stuff and the amount of time it would take to 3D print a jig. It's going to be much faster for me to just take that stuff and mash it onto the switch. I suspect making the mold will take me 5 minutes, and then it'll take about a day or two to dry, and then I'll be able to use it without issue at all. Let's see. Lynn McCurdy says, Heath, do you cut off that wire under the turnout or leave it attached? I removed it. You can, with the small pliers, you can pull pull it right off. So I just pull it off. Yeah, Cameron, it'll be much faster than 3D printing something and then having to keep like trying it. If you take the spring out, then finish the hole with a pin vise and mount your switch motor. And I thought about that as well, and I may still end up doing that. It's funny you say that, Dave. Somebody else suggested that as well, taking a sewing needle and sticking it through it. Have you actually done that, though? What I'm afraid of doing that is how much it's going to melt the plastic, and I don't really know. It's expensive. Switches kind of, as I found out, switches are expensive to mess up. So, yeah, but somebody on groups.io, when I posted the question in the N scale group, did suggest just heating up a pin and pushing it through the turnout. I don't know what plastic they use, but it's a pretty hard plastic. So yeah, and Derek, this is exactly it. It's more just that it's a repetitive task. I don't think the ties that are on FlexTrack are the same as the throw bar, but I guess they would have to be, right? I mean, why would they use a different plastic? Is it Delrin? It might be Delrin. Delrin's a really hard plastic, so, I figure I have 45 turnouts to do. So I can create the jig, take me 5 minutes to create, 2 days to harden, another 5 minutes to drill it out. So yeah, Ralph, the issue more is just I don't want to destroy the turnout. So the more accurate I can make the hole in the throw bar, the less likely I am to do that. Why not use the existing holes? So the reason I don't really want to use the existing holes is that you need to leave the holes open for the throw bar, which means that even after you scenic your layout, you're still going to have a hole next to every single one of your turnouts. Whereas if the hole is yeah, I'm not gonna find that. Yeah, the $100 double slips I am going to do last. But yeah, so I'm gonna make a hole in them. We'll see how it goes. I like the idea of a jig. It gives me a project to do that'll take me all of nothing to do. But yes, I did drill 3/8" holes for all of my for where the springs are going to come up. I did get, and I'm curious how or even if this is going to work, or if I even need to do this. But, and again, you know, I like doing things the complicated way. So what I got was some brass rod. And the brass rod, the outer diameter goes from 1 millimeter to I think like 1.5 or something like that. So my thought is if I find the drill bit that I want to use, and then I find the one that the drill bit fits in, I could stick this in the Sugru and the clay to make myself a little straight up jig and stuff like that. So, you know, for 45 turnouts, do I really need to make the jig? I don't know. Do I really need another project? I don't know. It's what I'm doing. I bought this stuff because it looks like it would be fun. So the other thing is, after I use just a tiny bit of this for this jig, I've got the rest of this that I could do all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah, I gotta figure out, I have these these drill bit sets that I'm already losing, some of the drill bits are already falling out of it, but I have this little kit here or whatever, so I gotta figure out which drill size I'm gonna use, but we'll get there. We'll figure it out. I did not talk about cutting my table. If you don't know what Ray is talking about, go check out Facebook. I posted a picture of me cutting through my table. But yeah, I'm just going to use the throw bar wires that come with the turnouts. I figure they should work just fine. 32 wire. The 32 wire is the heavier wire, correct? I can't remember. Where does one get piano wire? I bought some piano wire on Amazon, is what I got it on. See, now I already forget the question I asked that you're answering yes to, but I know people that do HO scale will switch to piano wire because it's thicker, it's heavier, and it gives a little more pressure against the switch. I feel like for N scale, I don't really need it. Yeah, K and S, was that the ones I ended up getting? I don't think I ended up getting K and S brass tubes, but I did see K and S brass tubes. I guess they also make piano wire, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Let me check my... Yes, it works better. Yeah. But so, question for everybody. Should I switch to thicker piano wire for N scale, or should I just use what comes with the turnout motors, because with N scale, it's N scale and the throw's not that long, and one of our operators was like, oh, the wire it comes with is fine, and is now swapping them all out. That is the thing I don't want to have to do, is swap them all out, because, yeah, it's hard. If you use slightly thicker wire, it's more forgiving if the alignment is not perfect. Oh, maybe I've got another thing to buy now. I hope not. Let's move on to something else while we're talking about that. Painting. Okay, cutting. Let's talk about cutting things. Did anyone figure out where this package came from yet? Did this give anybody a clue on here? Oh, so that's another thing, is the bench works all 3/4 of an inch, so there's nowhere that the wire is going to be very long. The wire that the most distance is the the switch will be mounted underneath, and the turnout will be 3/4 of an inch away. So they will be very. Try and error is the best way. Is it from Canada? It says airmail par avion. All right, so here's another thing that I'm doing. Probably overthinking things. I reached out to DCC Concepts and I said, hey, do you have a printable template for your turnouts? And they sent me this. So I am going to take these and I am going to cut them out. I've got this paper cutter that Roy Eltham bought for me, and it is, as you can see, still in the package. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to cut these out. I'm going to take and I'm going to punch the hole, and I'm going to stick these under the layout. And the reason I'm going to use these templates is to help align the turnout so that it is in line with the throw bar under the layout. Send that cutter back, it doesn't work. It's a Fisker. Oh no, it's a Furbon. I thought it was a Fisker. It's a Fur. What do you mean it doesn't work? Are you telling me? All right, we're gonna test it, because I hear it doesn't work. It got good reviews on Amazon. Now that I, of course, destroyed the packaging. All right, so it doesn't work. I don't know which way I'm supposed to slide it down. So I got one that I made. The first one that I made was a single one on a single piece of paper. And then I got smart and made more. And there does seem to be, it does seem to be catching on something that I can't get the paper through, which is interesting. Huh. Oh, I see. Oh, that's really neat. Look at that. You just flip it up. So when you slide the paper in and then flip it back down, it holds the paper in place. Oh, that is so fun. All right, what I don't know now, though, is how I'm supposed to line this up so it's straight. Well, that worked pretty darn well. I don't know about anybody else, but Heath, it lifts up. Yeah, okay. I'm a little slow as well, but the Walther switch machines come with templates. There you go. Yeah, okay, I figured it out eventually. I'm just, I'm a little bit, I'm not the smartest in the bunch. What can I say? So let's see. We are, is this like exciting? Is this like watching paint dry? I gotta believe people are just like bouncing out of their seats right now, watching me cut this template out. So here it is cut out. And then I'm gonna take this little hole punch, and the hole punch isn't the right size. I'm not worried about it being 100% perfect, as long as I get it close-ish. So now the theory is, I know that this is going to be the straight position, right? If I line this up, well, if I line the throw bar up this way, I know it's straight. So the way I'm going to do that, there should also be a flip out guide. Now I'm trying to figure the flip out guide. It looks like this comes out, but I don't see how it comes out. There we go. Look at that. Wow. That's fun. Okay. We're done with that. No more paper cutter talk. Derek wants to watch paint dry. He wants me to finish the other ones. Yeah, this is very thin printer paper. I don't need anything fancy for this. I originally did get it to create some waybills and do some test waybills. But, so what I'm doing is I'm taking this and we're going to try out. We're going to see if it's going to work, because I don't know if it's going to, but, you know, let's go over here. There we go. So this is a new camera app that I got. Let's see if it's gonna work or not. It looks like it's working. Okay, so here's the idea, and I'm hoping people can see this. The holes are already drilled, right? So if I take this now and put this over it and line up the center of this between the hole and the center of this track, on the bottom side, I now have a template with which to mount my turnout motor. I don't know where I saw this trick. I completely stole this from somebody else. So what I'm about to tell you, oh, why did this camera freeze? Oh, there it goes. Now it's back. It froze for a second. It's like if nothing is moving in the picture. Anyway, yes, the blades are replaceable. Roy Eltham, in addition to buying me the cutter, bought me some replacement blades. I don't know how the blades swap, but they do absolutely swap. So yeah, I got the Furbin. This is the Furbin version. I don't know. I'm not going to figure out how to swap the blade now. We can all figure that out. It cuts cardstock really well. That's what I got it for. All right, so I know what everybody's asking right now is, how am I going to transfer this to the bottom? And that's where this whole conversation of that's where we're going to have a little bit of conversation about transferring lines, drawing lines. So that's what yes, it cuts both ways, or at least it did for me. Use two-sided tape stick machine to bench top. I'm going to stick the bench to the underneath. I'm not going to stick it to the top. And the DCC Concepts ones actually come with little foam pads. But how am I going to align it? I know that's the question that everybody is asking. Okay, nobody's asking that question. That's the question that I'm asking. So what I did was, along the straight part of the track, and like, is this something that everybody knows? Like, is what I'm about to say like one of those things that like everybody just knows, and I'm like the last person to figure it out? Because I could be the last person to figure it out. So I've got my 3/8" hole for the wire for my turnout motor, and I'm going to use that pavement black paint to paint the inside of this to kind of hide it. So what I did was I took a small drill bit that won't really be seen, and along the straight route of the turnout, because the throw bar is along the lines of the straight turnout, is I drilled a hole. So there's a hole right there that's a little tiny hole. So I've got this, and then I've got a little tiny hole. So what that's going to allow me to do, and I'm sure everybody is saying, yeah, duh, like everybody does that. Who doesn't know that one? So what that means is now when I turn this over, you can see there's a hole here, and there's a little tiny hole right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ruler out, and this is where it comes down to drawing lines. And what I'm eventually going to do is draw out the entire layout underneath, because I'm a sucker for punishment. But what I will at minimum do, and that line is already not straight, but that's because I bet you what would help is having a see-through ruler right now, because it's hard to see where the center of the hole is. All right, so close enough for government work. So I've now got this laid out. If I take my 3/8 inch bit or a 3/8 inch bit and stick it up from the bottom, which I can't do because this is in the way. I'll show you that in a second, but if I take this, stick it up through here, and I shove this on top of that through my hole that I made that is too small, but it's going to work. And then I line up, I guess I don't really need to push that through there. All right, ignore the drill bit part, don't do that part. But so if I take this now and I line up I'm going to extend this line. And I can't see the chat, so if everybody is saying, yeah, we know that, move on, I'll see that soon enough. So I line the hole up, and then what I'm going to do is line up the line I just drew with this, and then glue this guy down to the bench work. So now I have my template, and I know it's lined up. You can put it this way or you can put it this way. It doesn't really matter either way. But get it lined up, and then I will then use that template to mount the switch motor. So I'm going to draw lines pretty much under, the entire layout, kind of drawing out where the switches are. So does everybody know this? Do you have any drinking straws and some stick glue? I have stick glue and I have paper drinking straws, not plastic ones. So you can print a mirror image for the bottom, then why don't you need a couple or three? I thought about printing it out and transferring the entire layout to the bottom. I don't know how helpful that would necessarily be. So I think I'm just going to just connect the dots, right? I mean, I got enough turnouts here that I can connect the dots enough to make it work. I don't think I need to totally plan it out. Dennis says, yeah, that's what he does. He approves this method. You, sir, are a genius. Yeah, I don't know about that. I can't draw a straight line. Yeah, I have a problem. I could make the templates out of clear plastic, although cutting this paper out on this paper cutter, this paper on this paper cutter is going to be so much easier than actually doing that. I could. I might even have clear acetate if I go upstairs and look at all the stuff I've bought over the years as well. I agree, Mike. I wait until everything is drawn out before I hit it with a Forstner bit. Where was Mike's comment? Oh, here we go. I start with 2 small holes, then drill the throw hole. That's exactly what I did, actually. I don't have any, so I did this entire section, part of the layout. I haven't done that part of the layout yet, but what I did do with all of this is I drilled 2 small holes first, and then I drilled oh, and then I just basically then I drilled the big hole afterwards. But yes, I drilled 2 small pilot holes first and then drilled out the other one. I don't know if you can see, let's go to here. I think you guys saw it, but I did draw out the entire layout on here. This is carbon paper, which I think we all are probably old enough to remember good old carbon paper. So I just used carbon paper, laid it down over everything. I took my 1-to-1 printout, put it on top of it, drew it all out. I even marked all of the throw bars, which is this line here. I put the small hole in the middle of the throw bar. I put the small hole here at the end, and then I drilled this bigger hole. Then I chamfered the hole as well. I didn't use a Forstner bit because it's a 3/8" hole, and I didn't need a flat. I didn't need a flat bottom on it, so I just didn't bother with that. But I do want to, before we get to opening that package up that nobody has guessed where it came from yet, I want to show, let's show this side. Well, you can see this side in that camera, so I'll put this here. I did do 2 little bit projects that I needed to do before I can move on. The one of them you can see over here in this camera. This is the area that eventually a lot of this track work here is gonna get cut out some more. But for now, I've cut it out enough that I can lay the track. And what this is this is gonna be the area up in Manhattanville that is up on the bridge. So I've cut out certain areas so that, and I'm gonna just do this. I cut out certain areas so that it would, you know, kind of called the cookie cutter technique. And I will show something that I did here that I thought was fun. So normally when you cut plywood, I'm gonna have to, I don't wanna hurt Dennis and move the camera with it live, so we'll do that. So when the edge of the plywood is usually straight up and down, right? So when you look at the face of the plywood, you see a really big edge. I'm standing up, looking down at the layout, but even when I look down at this angle here, right, you can still see the full thickness of it. So what I did is I took a 30-degree chamfer bit and I chamfered this entire edge. So now when you're looking at this from normal, quote unquote, normal viewing angles, it now makes it look like my 3/4 inch plywood is much, much thinner. And once I get the edges painted, you know, like a darker color or whatnot, it'll go away, and temporarily, until I have time to build the bridges, I'm able to use that chamfered edge to give the appearance that it's thinner. But you know, there's nothing holding this plywood up this whole length, and it's still nice and sturdy, and it's working out very, very well for me so far. So I chamfered this edge, you know, this edge and this edge, but the back edge, the edge you don't see, is still straight up and down. So I'm still getting, you know, the full strength of the plywood, but gives the appearance of being thinner. I don't know where I came up with that. The package is not from Container Man. I use carbon paper to transfer patterns for scroll saw projects. Yeah, I didn't come up with the idea, but I like the idea. I actually have a whole video on using carbon paper to transfer the layout as well. Oh, Cameron knows where the package came from. Yeah, if you're on Discord, you might be able to figure it out. I picked, one of the reasons I picked the color that I did was so that the carbon paper would show up really well. Yes, you can use the end of the throw bars. I did that for Riverside Transfer version 1. The package does not have pens and pencils. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very happy with how it came out. So before we get to opening that package, I want to talk about this area right here. This is the car float area. And if I hold this, well, I don't even know if I could hold it in the right spot anymore. Yeah, I can't hold it in the right spot anymore. But originally this was all one piece of wood. And what I wanted to do was cut out this section and drop it down so that my the base of the water was lower than the rest of the layout. So the tracks come here. This car float's actually going to move this way 3 inches. I made that decision last moment, but the transfer bridge will be here, and then the car float on this little piece of island. But one problem that I wanted or needed to solve is I needed to lower this down, but not lower it too much, because right here is where I want to have one of my subway scenes. And I know it's a little weird having a subway scene under the water, but we're gonna, Dennis, I see your comment, Dennis. But a little bit of suspension of disbelief. I'm gonna build out a subway here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some styrene or something thin, and I'm gonna make like a half arch over this. So it'll be a, you know, like an underground enclosed subway. It'll look really nice. At least I think it will. So when I was looking at how to lower this down, oh, again, chamfered edge. So if you're looking at the video right now, you can kind of see, you barely see that edge. This edge is a little thicker though. I left it a little thicker in case I wanted to attach something to it a little bit, and it's jagged. I didn't straighten it. The ones on the other side, this camera froze again. The ones on the other side, I don't remember what I was saying because I was looking at the camera freezing. I don't know what I was saying. So I put these little stops on the bottom here, and this will slip in like this, and that's how I am ensuring it's in the right spot. You can't really tell. Let me move the camera. Let's move the camera like this. The edge here is inset. So my water scene will actually kind of have like a slope in like this, so that the subway scene underneath here can have a slope that, you know, comes out underneath here, to give a little space for that. This edge right here lines up straight. So this edge here is lined up flat, but this edge here then is underneath a little bit as well. So this, the water as well, I can you know, curve this back. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. If you look down this edge, you can maybe even make out in the video, it's not straight, it's wavy. And I am terrible at cutting straight lines. So I was really worried about cutting this straight line. But what I realized eventually was this is a water area. There is some natural aspects to it. So it's okay if it's a little wavy, right? I mean, that makes it more realistic if it's not a straight line. And it's N scale, so what is it, like 1 inch in N scale is like 12.5 feet or something like that. So over 12.5 feet in the real world, it's gonna be a little wonky. So on the other side, I actually used I used this stuff here. This is basically allows you to, you screw this down and it then becomes the guide for your router. So I used this in places where I wanted the edge as smooth as possible. But for an area like that, I don't need to straighten it out. It just, it's just gonna work. Dennis, I appreciate that comment. He says, my layout's looking really good, more finished than his. I haven't laid a single piece of track yet, though. So that's where this is going. The plan is to get the turnout motors mounted, wired up. I want to wire up or like preset some of the feeder locations as well, which is a big reason I'm going to do some transferring of the layout to the underneath side, is so that I can know where I can run feeder wires and stuff like that. But then once I get all the wiring done on the bottom, then I'll flip it back over. All the turnout motors will be in and everything, and then it'll just be dropping the track and go. So that's kind of the plan. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, or probably most of you have all left at this point, but for those of you that stayed, we can take a look at this package. So this airmail thing, par avion, somebody said France. It's actually not France. It's actually Canada. I don't know if it's a French part of Canada. I don't know why it actually says that. I thought it came from Ontario, but you know, what do I know? Until I got this package, I didn't actually even know what the full name of the company was. I only knew the initials of the company. It wasn't Mini Prints. DB Tech, I can't cut straight lines. I always use a straight edge with C-clamps. So I have tried using a straight edge with C-clamps as well, and it did not go well at all. So I just cut that with a jigsaw and let it go. How many plies is this plywood? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe 13, maybe 11, maybe 13. I don't know. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, Andy, but has Andy actually built his layout yet at all? I will actually build mine. Yes, I know Canada has 2 official languages, but I thought it was really only Quebec that that used French regularly. I didn't realize that other places like Ontario used French that much, but you know, what do I know? I am not from Canada. So yes, it is from ITLA. Very good guess. Do you know what ITLA stands for? Because I didn't. It was completely news to me. So if we open it up, you can start to see what it is in here. So I have 2 subway areas on the layout, right? I've got the one over here that's going to be the underground one that we just talked about. And then there's the one over here, which is going to be where all the bridges and stuff are. And if you remembered, this one is out in the open. So what I'm planning for this side is I got these items from ITLA, and they have a bunch of New York elevated starter kits and a gabled roof platform, and what else did they get here? And some stairs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these in half. I know I'm probably asking a lot of myself, probably more than I should, We'll see how big they are. But what I think I'm going to do is cut them in half because I only have one track. I don't have multiple tracks for my subway. I only have one track. So I don't need the double wide. So I'm going to cut it in half. And then, I did this again. I switched the cameras and then forgot to switch it back. I know, I'm sorry. Okay, so now everyone can look at the kids. Yeah, imagine that laser art. I thought that is such a cool name. I think that's a better name than ITLA, is Imagine That. Like how, that's just, I just think that's brilliant. So I would like to ask that everybody starts calling them Imagine That laser art, and we no longer call them ITLA because I just like the name. All right, so there's the, I know, Mike, I'm sorry. ITLA will be at OVR Saturday. What is it? Saturday the 18th, I believe. OVR is having their big open house. But the other side of the sticker's in English. It could be. Vancouver uses both. I didn't know that. We use both English and French on everything. There you go. 16th, September 16th at OVR. So I got the starter kit, which has the double legs and one single leg. I got this one additional single leg. I got extra because I'm sure I'm going to screw something up. I've got the one gabled roof platform and one set of staircase. And I'm going to set it up over here, which is where I have the camera on. It's going to go in this section right here. I don't know how long it's going to be. Don't know exactly where it's going to stop, but the idea is that, so in New York City, the ground level actually goes up here, but in my version of New York City, this is going to actually kind of go down here. So the reason this is like this weird shape right here and everything's kind of weird is from this point over, I'm going to make a hill going down, and I can show you pictures of the hill. There's actually a hill that I will mold this off of. So this hill is going to go down, and then the subway section is going to be right here. And then this here, there's going to be underneath the bridge's urban scene, as well as then some items on top as well. So again, it's going to be a little bit of a suspension of disbelief. Is that the right word? Is that the right phrase? Suspension of disbelief? I don't even remember. But it's not going to be perfect, but I think so the subway track is not going to go up or down. So the bottom of the subway pieces will actually end up being below this, and then there'll be bridges for this as well. There'll be a little edge right here, whatever. It's all in my head. It'll get built eventually. The item is not available separately. Which item? What are we talking about now? IDLA makes some nice kits and the owner's really nice. Asked how much an item was that was included in another kit. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, Joey from Late Night Model Railroad built an ITLA kit on a diorama, and he uses it for all of his photography that he takes of the rolling stock that he gets, and it looks phenomenal. It is just absolutely stunning. So I thought I would pick one of their harder kits and give it a try, because boy, I'm like looking at this stuff. I mean, these are some small parts, but that's where I'm at. So next week we're going to keep going and start getting into the electronics, mounting of switch motors, doing some of the wiring, and just all about getting one step closer to building this layout and being able to have people come over and operate. So from the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.